There was this recent statistic that I saw when it comes to Polkadot, which I found to be very surprising. And let me explain what that is in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. So BSC News recently reported that 1 out of 200 DOT tokens are now held in just one ETF. So let's just take that into consideration. 1 in every 200 is held through, again, a Polkadot ETF. And of course, I'm talking about 21 shares Polkadot ETF. This is kind of ridiculous because when that launched, it wasn't the best timing, some people like to say, which is true. It didn't align well with the altcoin space. But even launching in unfavorable conditions, basically, we're already seeing that much activity through 21 shares Polkadot ETF. Why is this a big deal? Well, we take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. The ETFs, when it comes to those projects, they've inherently made them a little bit more stable. Now, is it super stable? No, but it's kind of stable comparatively speaking to before it had those ETFs. This is just my mindset. So when I take a look at this right here, I think it's a right step in the right direction when it comes to Polkadot. But let me rattle off some more statistics because according to the data from Value, the 21 shares Polkadot ETF already holds 0.52% of DOT's current supply. Now, it launched just a couple months ago, keep in mind, right? It launched back in March of 2026. So if we take a look at that right there, despite being the only Polkadot ETF in terms of a spot Polkadot ETF in the US, this is something very wonderful in my opinion, already seeing that much held through ETFs. Because if we take a look at Polkadot, a lot of people say, wow, it's forgotten about, it's so close to its all-time low, which is true. Polkadot, in terms of its native token called DOT, it's around $1.22. Its all-time low, actually, is $1.13. So keep in mind, we're literally 9 cents higher than the all-time low, only 9 cents. And yet, there is still that much conviction when it comes to Polkadot through the ETFs. What does that showcase? It showcases that some people, while they are leaving when it comes to DOT, that is true, but some are entering. That's the thing. But we have to also take this into consideration. When a lot of people were exiting out of their Apple stocks, Berkshire Hathaway back then was entering. So we have to take a look at that as well. Warren Buffett, he doesn't seem like he is angry or upset at low prices. Some others may be, but I don't know if he is, right? Because Berkshire Hathaway, if they're so in love with high prices, they would only dollar cost average near the top. But they don't do that typically. They typically dollar cost average kind of at bottom levels, right? So if we take a look at that right there, sure, DOT being at around $1.22, it may seem like a negative thing for some, but for others, they don't really view it as a negative thing. Some are looking to enter. In some cases in real life, I'm not saying when it comes to this specifically, but I'm just saying in real life, sometimes for every seller, there's a buyer. So yes, there are some people out there selling their car or whatever at a loss. Some people out there are selling their real estate at a loss, but some people are entering. Because some people out there, these real estate developers, sometimes when they see low prices, they view it as a, I guess, asset for them to sometimes theoretically hold, and sometimes they wait for it to appreciate. That's the thing. Some others may feel like, you know what, it's low, I'm out. Totally valid. Some people do feel that way, but some are looking to enter. So there's two frames of minds, really, when it comes to this space. I think also in the case of real estate, there's two frames of minds, in my opinion. So when I take a look at something like Polkadot, yes, it's not doing the best, but again, there's a different perspective. It's either glass half full or glass half empty. If my mindset is to just be here for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, I wouldn't believe in Polkadot, personally, because first of all, I'm not looking to, exit and enter every 5 or 10 minutes, every couple hours. That's not me. I don't have those type of capabilities. I'm not going to pull up some random price chart, draw some random triangle. The market's not going to care about what I have to do, right? So first of all, I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to enter and exit every couple minutes, every couple hours. That's not my style. What I do is that if I like a project, I'll hold and I'll wait. That is just my mindset. It's like, for instance, if I acquire real estate, do I know what's going to happen tomorrow or in 2 days or in 3 days, 4 days, whatever? No, but one thing that I'm thinking, at least in my mind, if I'm acquiring real estate, is that maybe in a couple years something could happen. Maybe. But that's more of a long-term horizon. That's not, hey, what could happen next week? No. So when it comes to this space, it's no different for me. I view it as not necessarily what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after. I'm thinking about maybe years. I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait, but that is my mindset. Like, I like to take the hypothetical worst case scenario in a sense where if, let's say, I have to wait for years, I don't mind. But if it happens a little bit earlier, then I don't mind either. It's like, for instance, when I want to cook something, usually they say, oh, the cooking time, like the time from when I prepare it till the end, sometimes they say, oh, allocate either an hour or an hour 30 minutes. Sometimes they do that, right? Or let's say in some cases, an hour 30 minutes or 2 hours, whatever. But if I see those type of instructions or those type of, I guess, disclaimers, I would like to lean towards the higher end of the time in a sense where if they say it's prepared from either an hour or an hour 30 minutes, I'm just going to assume it's an hour 30 minutes regardless. The reason why is because if it happens earlier than an hour 30 minutes, I'll be happy. But if it happens at exactly an hour 30 minutes, then it was what I expected anyways, right? So when it comes to the space, sure, I don't mind waiting for years, but if it happens earlier, then I'd be happy. That's it. But if I have to wait for a couple years, then it is what it is. That's what I expected anyways. So that way I don't become angry or upset. That's just kind of my mindset. However, if my intent is, let's say, oh, I want it to happen in 2 days and it doesn't happen, let's say instead it happens in a week, then I'll be upset, even though a week isn't even that long. But because my frame of mind in this hypothetical going into it was I want it to happen fast and it doesn't happen fast, then I become upset. I don't want to do that. I'd just rather, expect the longer timeline. So if it happens a little bit earlier, then I don't mind, right? That's the thing. That way I won't be upset or disappointed. That is just my perspective. So when it comes to Polkadot, people like to say it's a useless project, but I disagree with that actually because it may not be doing the best, but it doesn't mean it's useless. Sure, it's around 8 times lower than where it once was in December 2024, which means that we're around 8 times lower than where we were slightly over a year ago, which is not necessarily, I guess, such a bad thing because if it goes back there, it already feels like an altcoin season to me. But besides that, Polkadot as a project is looking to connect blockchains together. It's focused on something called interoperability. That's not a useless market, in my opinion. It may sound kind of useless, but if we consider how many networks and how many blockchains out there want to be interoperable, it starts to add up, right? I mean, there's like so many, and Polkadot, I'm not saying that everyone is going to choose this, but if it's focused on interoperability and lacking interoperability is clearly a big issue as of right now, Polkadot does provide somewhat of this solution in some cases to some of these developers. It doesn't mean that all developers are going to care, but I'm just saying there is at least that hypothetical solution. There's other projects focused on this too. It's not only just Polkadot. Take a look at Cosmos, take a look at Axelar, and take a look at Quant to a certain extent. So it's not only just Polkadot, but Polkadot is the most popular within all those projects, in my opinion. Within the niche of interoperability at least, it is, I think, in my opinion, the most popular within that niche. It has over 1 million holders. So if we take a look at, let's say in the case of Polkadot, is it really useless? I just don't think so. But I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. Hopefully, y'all stay tuned for future upcoming videos. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.